Anyone?
Read the advertisement below and answer the questions that follow. The Ministry of Health is seeking to recruit Form 4 graduates to serve in a campaign aimed at creating awareness among young people on the importance of healthy eating. The applicants must be citizens of Kenya, 16 years and above, in possession of a national identification card, fluent in English and Kiswahili, able to demonstrate knowledge and experience on issues of healthy eating, creative and innovative. Interested persons are required to send their application to the following by 30th November 2016. The Principal Secretary, Ministry of Health, PO Box 6789-001000, Nairobi. Write a letter of application in response to the advertisement. Write a curriculum vitae to accompany your application letter.
Yes, thank you. Now, you see, actually, even in 2016, now you can get that, an application, the CV goes together with an application letter. And in most cases, in KCSE, you actually given all the details that you should include in both. So ensure that you read the instructions very carefully and include all the details that are required. So we'll just go to CV writing. First of all, I unfortunately my laptop is not connecting, so I'm just using my phone. So I can share my screen. So after this, I will share screenshots of the notes. Then you can just write them. So before you, so a curriculum vitae is a summary of your background information, education, work experience, and interest. It is often used as part of an application for a job vacancy. The purpose is to give the prospective employer a brief overview of your qualification for the job. This document must be well arranged, neat, and business-like. Yeah, so simply it's a summary of your background information, because shortly I'm going to give you the format. So remember, in functional writing, the key points that we usually look when marking the functional writing, it's we look at the title. Most of the functional writings have the titles apart from the letters. So you should have a title. Now in this case, your title will be like the curriculum vitae. Now the next item is usually personal background information. Next, we usually have your career objectives. Then after that, we have background information. So I'm going to give details for each and every session. Then you're supposed to give your work experience. These you start from where you started working to your current place of work. Then you're supposed to give your skills, the skills that you've acquired with time. You're supposed to state your hobbies or interests. Then you're supposed to give your referees. So I'll give you some of the highlights that you should consider before you start writing your CV. So you should gather together every piece of information you have about your education and work experience, whether paid or voluntary. So the first thing you start, now I'm just giving you the highlights, then we'll go to the format and I'll tell you the details of each format. So before you write your CV, make sure you have this information with you. Gather together every piece of information you have about your education and work experience, whether paid or voluntary. This is because the document must show an employer what jobs you have done, what schools and colleges you have attended, and what qualifications you have attained. So this is a document through which you are selling yourself. It is the means by which you get an interview. Yeah, so most of the time, what makes an employer choose between this employee and the other one, it's how rich is your CV. Yeah, that's why actually we encourage you, like even after Form 4, don't just sit at home and wait to join campus. get into an institution, like even, let's say, even a school, a primary school, a high school, volunteer to do something. Yeah, that's where you start building your CV. Yeah, so make sure your CV by the time you're applying for a job. Now, remember what we are talking about is functional writing. We are not teaching you the functional writing just for exams purposes. We are teaching the functional writing to at least make you well equipped when you go out there looking for a job. You know how to write an application letter. You know how to write a CV. Yeah. So take this lesson seriously. Actually, back in my times when we were looking for jobs, you could find some of my friends, they have no idea how they should write a CV. And they went through school, they were taught this lesson, but because they didn't take it seriously, they were just clueless. And you find actually a CV, how well your CV is written can make you get a job or lose it. Yeah. So you must make sure you have the tips, you have the right format on how to write, you have enough work experience, and make sure your CV is rich enough. Will give you that upper hand when you're looking for a job. Yeah. So now, again, now my point was, so this is because the document must show, and this is a document through which you are selling yourself. It is the means by which you get an interview. Again, it is a document that can be referred to by both you and the interviewer. So ensure that your information and facts are correct. Yeah, so CV is not a factual writing whereby you just sit down and imagine things. Everything that you put down in a CV should be correct. Anyway, apart from whereby, let's say you're doing it for exam purposes, you're now assuming or you're told to imagine, that's when now you can be creative and come up with details. But in real life, when you're writing your own CV, make sure the information that you write in your CV is correct and it's information that can be proven. Yeah, because actually most of the times you find when you're applying for a job, you're supposed to write an application letter, write the CV, then you're supposed to attach your certificates and documents that can support whatever you're saying is true. Again, you're supposed to write referees that can be called anytime to confirm whether what you've written is true. Then now,
there is come out.
Ensure your CV is tidy, your words are correctly spelled, and your language is grammatically correct. Yeah. So this is a formal document. It's a formal document. You should ensure that it is neatly arranged. Your words are correctly spelled. Your language is grammatically correct. So ensure all that. So those, when you're applying for a job, your employer will always, of course, look for that. When we are marking your functional writings, we will ensure that if your document is not neat or it's untidy, you will be penalized. If your grammar is not correct, if it's not formal, you're going to be penalized for that. Abilities can be put across of being noticed. So experience and personal qualities can be put across in such a way as to maximize your chances of being noticed. Yeah. So make sure, even if it's in an examination situation and you've been told to apply this job as a healthy worker in your community, so ensure that you're creative enough to show that you have enough experience, to show that you really qualify for this job. Because if you don't have an experience, you're likely not to be chosen. Because you find that most of the job advertisements, they always insist that have like 5 working experience. So if you don't have that kind of experience, you're not going to be chosen. So again, personal qualities. So there is a part where you're supposed to give your career objectives. So this is whereby you bring out your personal qualities in such a way you convince the employer, sure, this is the right person for the job. Yeah, so present. So I'm going to now take you through a format, how you're supposed to present your work. The first element, actually, you can just write this down. So elements of us curriculum vitae. So first, it's biodata or personal details. But before that, because I will send the notes here, but I think it's good that you write just a simple definition of what is a CV. So you can write this down. First, let us start by writing. Our title should be curriculum vitae. You can just take some nice notes that you can refer to later, because after this, you're doing, I will give you, actually, you'll be doing the question for 2012. I write the question and send it to you for all to write for practice. So write this, curriculum vitae. A curriculum vitae is a written record of your education. A curriculum vitae is a written record of your education, jobs you have done.
Madam?
A curriculum, a curriculum vitae is a written record of your background information. A curriculum vitae is a written record of your background information, education, job or work experience, and interest, that you send to a potential employers, potential employers, that you send to potential employers when looking for a job. A CV should be well organized, be free of errors. So elements of our curriculum vitae. So when you're writing your CV, these are the elements that you should capture. And these elements should be captured with subtitles. So the first thing when you're writing your CV, the first thing should be the title. So the title should just be curriculum vitae. Then after the title, we have the second element, that is biodata or personal details. These should include one, your official names. One, your official name, age, official name, age, into brackets optional, age is optional. So actually, let me just, I'll give you a list of the optional ones. So, so the compulsory items that actually postal address, phone number, postal address, phone number, email address, Then we have these other optionals. So we have age, date of birth, age, date of birth, gender, nationality, religion, age, gender, nationality, religion.
Excuse me, Chair. Excuse me, Chair.
The instructions ask you to, you can include them. So the compulsory ones that you should include in your biodata or personal details, it's the name, postal address, phone number, email address. Then now you can include those others, they're optional, that is age, date of birth, gender, marital status, nationality, and religion. So I think I had not mentioned marital status, so you can include that, though that is optional. I hope you are together to that point. Are we together, Najongela?
Yes.
Yeah, we're together.
Perfect. Good. Now let's go to the next item. The next item that we have in your that you should have in your CV, career objectives. Career objectives. Yeah, so before I explain what this is, just to take you back. So when you're writing a CV, sorry that I don't have a board or somewhere I can illustrate, but as we said, it should be organized and neat. So when you write like this subtitle of personal details, have somewhere at the left corner, write name, colon, let's say, now your name is, who is, by your name. Let's say your name is, like I can give an example with my name. Name, Beldin Kirito or Watch. Then we go to the next item. We go to the next item. We talked about postal address. You write a colon, postal address. Then phone number, colon, you write your phone number. Are we together?
Yes.
Then now we go to email address, colon, you write the email address. You go to marital status, colon, you write your marital status. Nationality, colon, that way. So ensure they are neat and in the same line. So you write the details, then you write, you fill in the detail. You write like the name, colon, your name, phone number, colon, your name. So you ensure that all of them are arranged in a linear manner. They are well arranged and they are neat. Not that one word is long, then colon equal, the name is there, you write against each other. No, they should come out very neatly, because actually you find that in most cases the applications are so many people have sent the application letters, and the human resource manager is trying to shortlist people. So the first thing your CV is disorganized, it just dumped somewhere. So the first, actually someone should look at your CV at a glance and be able to tell so much about you. So now, as we go to the next thing, That is a career.
Excuse me, madam. Question.
Yes.
Should the like official names or age or when you put colon, should it be within the margin or outside the margin?
Outside the margin, outside the margin, because the
Okay.
name, it should be outside the margin because this is your writing, not on the side of the margin, just outside the margin. You write your name, then the details.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So any other question regarding that? So let me
Hey,
begin.
madam,
Yes. Mhm.
there are the personal information. Does sequence matter? Like you have to say, does sequence matter?
Does what?
Sequence.
Sequence. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But of course, the first thing now, as I outlined, the first thing should be your name. So don't start with your age or marital status. No, the first thing should be your name. Actually, I would advise just take the formats that I've given you. Though, no, as long as you've started your name with your name and the contact details. Actually, it's your name, contact details. Then those other items, they can come in any. As long as you've started your name with your name, then your contact details, then those other items can come in. Yeah, is that clear?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, any other question regarding that?
Yes.
With the format, should you like arrange from the oldest to the recent, or from recent to oldest?
Actually, we are getting to there when we'll be talking about education and work experience. We'll explain that, though it should be from oldest to the current. Sorry, so I think from the hey, let me just get to my notes, and I think I've this shows you. It's okay. Let me just get to that and then explain. So another item that I forgot to mention that is not in my notes, but it's very important to mention in your biodata, it's language. Yeah, the language that you can speak. Because at times, you're looking for a job in a rural area where the locals cannot like communicate in English or Kiswahili. So then I'm saying there are other items that I've not mentioned. It's not in my notes, but it's important you include in your biodata is the languages that you can speak. Probably you're looking for a job in a country where they're looking for someone with who can speak many foreign languages. So it's now it's at this point where you write the languages that you can speak. Yeah, are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Is it optional? For the language.
Yes, it's optional. It's also optional, but it's good to include. It's if so the next item.
Excuse me,
now,
teacher.
career objectives.
Excuse me, teacher.
So this is usually one paragraph, briefly mentioning your attributes, career objectives. This is usually one paragraph. It's usually one paragraph. Mentioning your attributes. This is usually one paragraph. Briefly mentioning your attributes that's going to value company or organization. Briefly mentioning your attributes that are going to add value to the company or organization that makes you stand out. This is usually one paragraph, briefly mentioning your attributes that are going to add value to the company or organization that makes you stand out.
Madam. Hey, madam. Madam.
She's not there.
Oh.
Madam.
Mwalimu,
Nasikia hayuko msee.
amescape.
Ana net. Tulie.
Mbona tena?
Bundles zimejoch.
Ilidhani wanalipiwa na chuo.
We are 157
Atipoze mzima anunulie walimu bundles tangu lini?
Rada Arun.
Nini ina happen hapa?
Bundles za mode zimejoch.
Madam.
Hiyo rebo ya chat jo.
Sidi ya chopara.
Anze tuhurumie. Arun.
Mwalimu.
Arun.
Mwalimu.
Yeah. Na mwaparada.
Bob. Cheki Bob. Bob.
Is there a teacher here?
No.
Nani huyo ananiita? Moriasi. Imagine.
I'm back.
Hello, Governor.
Silence, please.
Okay.
Silence. Mr. Mbiro, please mute all these people. So I'm back. So sorry, my network is usually so poor. When you understand my bundles imeisha, I have unlimited Wi-Fi. So anyway, it's okay. Let's continue. Are we together? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sawa. So tukiwa pamoja, tafadhali si bundles imeisha. I have unlimited Wi-Fi. It's only that my place at times network can really misbehave.
Amen.
Let's continue.
Sorry.
Now I was at the point when I was talking about career objectives.
Mwalimu.
Now in career objectives, you find that some people are used to some of the cliches that are out of connection to the job that you find now when you're writing your career objectives, it should be something that is relevant to the job that you're looking at. Paragraph that's clear. There are some people still making noise. Please mute your mics. So as I was saying, this one paragraph, you should write something that is related to the job that you are applying for, and that shows you that you're really qualified and you're like determined and ready to take up. You're truly qualified for this job, for this job that you're applying for. So now I hope, are we together at that point in terms of career objective?
Hey, madam.
So for example, I can read you an example of a career objective that you can write. Career objective.
Excuse me, teacher. Please repeat what you said.
Further the ideals of the I repeat, I give you the notes on career objectives.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
as I said earlier, career objectives, this is usually one paragraph. This is usually one paragraph, briefly mentioning your attributes. This is usually one paragraph, briefly mentioning your attributes that are going to add value to the company or organization. This is usually one paragraph, briefly mentioning your attributes that are going to add value to the company or organization that makes you stand out.
Yeah.
Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, now I was giving you an example. I'm reading an example of career objectives. To further the ideals of the organization, career objective, to further the ideals of the organization, I will be placed in. My career objective is to further the ideals of the organization I will be placed in through teamwork, hard work, minimal supervision, and diligence. So you find it's just a brief paragraph that captures your objective about your career in that particular organization. Yeah, so the next item that you should have in your CV, it's academic history and qualifications. Academic, yes? Mm-hmm.
Now, now in the career objectives, you said it's a paragraph.
Yes.
Also, like you write in
Yes.
prose form. You don't write in point form. You write in prose form.
Yes, you write in prose form. Like I have just read it, it should be in prose form. And remember, your CV should have all those subtitles. Yeah, so personally, information, as personal details, subtitle, career, then you read the paragraph, then now you go to the next section. Academic history and qualifications. So let's continue. So this shows which institution was attended. This shows which institution that you attended. You attended at different levels from primary school, high school, and university or college. This shows what institution you attended at different levels from primary school, high school, and university or college.
Oh shit.
It shows dates and place of, it should show the dates. It should show the dates and places of primary. It should show the date and place. Date and place. It should show the date and place of primary. Sorry, yes? It should show the date.
We are not getting you well.
Can you? Oh, my network.
Mwalimu, your network is tricky.
Okay. Now, can you hear me now?
Limited.
Barely.
Yes.
No.
It's okay now. I think I can drop home. So we are together.
Yes.
Yeah, so as I was saying, it should
I know we are not
show
together.
the dates and places of primary. Please, those who are making, mute your mics.
We are not together, Mwalimu.
Let me just, actually, I'm just going outside. I'm going outside the house because the house
You're going
seems to
outside?
have a problem. I'm just going.
Just
Yes, I'm
continue.
going outside to work to just, I think I'll just do it from the car.
Unlimited.
Okay.
The car has unlimited.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Still there. Still
No. Yes.
No.
Can you hear me?
No.
No.
No. How did you hear? I was asking the question.
Yes, we can.
Let's
Continue.
Anyway, let's continue.
Continue.
I hope I am clear now. Sasa kama siko clear, we'll have to end the lesson because now I have nowhere else.
Yes.
It's better. I can hear you now.
It's better.
Better. Hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes. Now, as I was saying, now back to my point. So, I said it should include dates. It should include dates and places of primary. It should include dates and places of primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Then now, it should include.
What's happening?
It should also include educational qualifications.
Jesus.
There is someone who is making. So I repeat. It should include it should also include education qualifications. It should also include educational qualifications. Into brackets, public examinations taken and grades or degrees attained. It should also include educational qualifications. Into brackets, public examinations taken and grades or degrees attained. When you first thing you start with the date, that is the year. For example, let's say from 2000 to 2008, you attended this primary school. You state the name of the primary school. Then into bracket, you put the grade or the grade that you attained. Then now you go to the next item. And now I remember someone had asked a question whether we write from there, where you started to where you from the old
completed.
New. So what it should always be from new to old. Let's say now, for example, if you've gone up to university, you start with the year when you went to the university. Like, for example, 2000 to 2004, University of Nairobi, first class honors, Bachelor of Education. Then you go to these attained a different of grades. This year to this year, the name of the primary school and the mark that you attained. Are we together?
Yes.
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 So, for example, let me just read you an example. So, academic history and qualifications. 2013 to 2016, Bachelor of Education. University. You start with the University of Nairobi.
What about
Bachelor of Education? Sorry, work experience. You're coming there. We are coming there. So we are now at tunaenda pole pole systematically. Are we together?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Kama transfer mashule za primary.
If you have transferred, I think you should just capture all of them in that order. the one in that order. So our order should be the highest level of the higher, then you, for example, now the university, you say which year you are in university, and in this case, remember we are emphasizing on neatness. So when you're writing your date, they should be in a linear way. For example, 2000 to 2004, a colon, the name of the university, the degree attained, and then, yeah, for example, Bachelor of Education, first class, honors. Then you come to, let's say, 1996 to 2000, you write the name of your school, Alliance High School, A plane, yeah, you got a grade of A plane. Then you write from, let's say, to 1998, primary school attained grade A. Yeah, so that is how you should write them down. Grade, you should also, what kind of certification was that? For example, now when you say 2000 to 2004, Alliance High School, you write 2000 to 2004, colon, Alliance High School, into bracket, KCSE, A, plain. Then when you write for primary school, that 2000, let's say 1990 to 1998, Musagitao Primary School, KCPE, A, yeah? Such, you write in such a way. You make sure you've mentioned the date, colon, the name of the institution, and the grade attained. Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Madam.
any question up to that point?
Hey, madam.
Yes? Someone has a question? Yes?
Now there. So you have said there. You have to match. You have to match the place where you went to school together with the qualification. You don't write them separately. Like unasema education, alafu you write the years that you went plus the where you went to school, and then another place qualification. This year you did KCSE, you got C. This year KCP, you got 200 marks. Yeah, something like that.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that. What you do, you just write the year when you attended the year when you attended the institution. For example, 2000 to 2004. It's colon Alliance High School into brackets KCSE A. That's what you write. Are we together?
Yes.
Have I answered your question? So who was asking that question?
Yes, madam.
Have I answered your question?
Yes, you have.
So simply what you write, you don't write the year of the KCSE separately. You should, so what I've said, it should be the years when you attended that institution from this year to this year, the name of the institution, then into brackets, the KCSE qualifications of Bachelors of Education, first class honors. Are we together?
Yes.
Any question up to that point?
Madam.
Yes?
Now, at KCP, do you write the grade
yes.
or do you write the marks? KCP, do you write
the grade?
You can
write the grade and the marks. Yes, KCP, actually write the grade and the marks. Because that's how it is awarded. Write the grade and the marks. Is that clear?
Yes, yes, madam.
Okay, now can we move to the next session? That is a work experience. So, and remember, please remember the subtitles. Without the subtitles, you will not get marks. If you mix up the formats, you will also be penalized. So the way I'm reading them that way, that is how they should appear in your CV. So after this, I would just give you a task. Please go look for KMF and look at the format, look at various examples, how they appear in different books. But again, this is the format. Actually, if you can get Head Start book 4, if you are at a position of getting Head Start revision books, they're the best one, not revision books, Head Start, the course books, they're the best for functional writings. Their formats are the best, and that is what NEC uses. So this is the format that I've given you is what has been approved by the NEC. So don't mix up things like you start with the work experience, then you go to qualifications, then you go to career objectives. The way I'm giving you these notes, that's how they should appear when you're writing your CV. So now I'm back to my point. Now this should be item number 5, that is work experience. So work experience. So this is employment record. This is employment record. This is employment record that includes details of which period of employment. This is as I said, this is employment record that include details of which period of employment. This is employment record that includes details of each period of employment. That includes details of each period of employment. Company. These details are the name of the company or organization, position held, and dates.
Mwalimu, pardon.
I'm saying this is a record of this is employment record to include details of each period of each period of employment, position held, and dates.
Done.
You should mention the following. You should mention the following. So I'm going to mention when you're writing. 1, titles of jobs previously held. Titles of jobs previously held. For example, these can be like the marketing manager, the IT specialist. So you mention the title of jobs previously held. 2, dates during which these jobs were held. Dates during which these jobs were held.
Madam.
Next. Yes?
You said dates.
Let me just have.
You said dates or years. Like like Tuesday, 29th October.
Let's just a date. Dates. The dates for saying 29th October to this year, because there is that month when you're employed and the date to when you left. It's not just the years. It should not be ambiguous. You should be specific. So let's continue. Let me just give you the details, then I'll give you a room for questions. Next, name of the employer. Name of the employer. Name of the employer. Next, location of the employer. Location of the employer. Next, specific achievements made at each job. Specific achievements made at each job. So now those are the achievements that you should capture when you're writing your work experience. So for example, let's for example, give an example with if now I'm writing my CV.
Can't hear
For example, now Alliance High School. So I say 1st of April. Are we together? Can you hear me now?
Not well.
Hey, someone
Madam,
seems to...
madam, tunakusikia.
Can you can hear me? Oh, good, Brandon. I can see you share the screen. That is good. So now let's continue. So as I am saying, now, for example, if I am writing my CV now, I start with the current place of work. 1st of April 2014 to current. I start from 1st April 2014 to present. Meaning I'm still working in that place. I now after I write that, to 1st of April 2014 to present, colon, Alliance High School, teacher of English, or Alliance High School, into brackets, Kikuyu, to say the place, teacher of English and literature. Yeah, that. Now, next place, September 2013 to March 2014, Sunshine High School, Nairobi.
Wow.
Teacher of English and literature.
Yeah,
Then I just go outlining my work experience like that, from where I started to where I am working currently. Is that clear? Currently, the year when you started, then you outline other areas where you have worked, from which date to which date. Are we together?
Yes.
Nani ameamua kutuwekea ngoma tafadhali?
Weka jerege. See.
So can that person mute the mic?
Bana bas.
Anga bana. Sauti yangu.
Jana kaji.
Si tuko na mangome.
Jamaa yuko sawa.
So it's okay. Please let's continue. We just have 10 minutes remaining. and I'm yet to cover much. Let's continue. So any question regarding work experience? Any question?
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Madam,
Yes. Yes.
that format of work experience, you start with the date. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Alafu colon.
Mm-hmm.
The institution, the post you held.
Yes.
Now, since the institution and post you held, they might.
Yeah.
You separate them with a comma, or do you write like you skip a line for each?
Yes, you separate with the comma. Alliance High School, comma. Actually, what you can even write Alliance High School, a full stop, teacher of English and literature, full stop. We just write, you have one line at the top, one statement at the top, the other one just below it, but under the same category. But you write in such a way your work should just look neat. So, any other question?
Family biscuit.
Family biscuits. Afadhali mute your. Let's continue. Now, the next item, it's work experience. We look at special skills. Special skills. Here, as mastery of several languages. Here, you indicate skills.
Pardon?
That may be relevant to the job, such as mastery of several programs and experience. So I repeat, here you indicate skills that may be relevant to the job. Here you indicate skills that may be relevant to the job, such as mastery of several languages, mastery of software programs, mastery of software programs, and experience with certain equipment and machinery. Here you indicate skills that may be relevant to the job, such as mastery of several languages, mastery of software programs, and experience with certain equipment and machinery. So now in special skill, so you will write,
Hey, madam. Hey, madam.
Madam.
Hey, madam.
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Or Wi-Fi.
Unlimited. Unlimited mic.
Mnasema unlimited sasa.
Moda ameingia kaka.
Nasoma kitu sahihi.
Chakani.
Sasa Brandon anaendelea kufunza.
Brandon, siendo kwa Kiingereza, siendelee basi. Brandon, ngoja.
Brandon,
yeah. I'm back.
Welcome.
Welcome, teacher.
So I'm back. So let's just continue. It's unfortunate that my network is just terrible, but we are winding up.
Yeah.
So now, so am I clear up to that point about the special skills?
Hey, madam.
Yes.
Special skills. You write in prose form. Ama point form.
According to if you have many special skills, you just write them in point form. You can actually number them.
Sawa. Roman number. Roman number ama natural number.
Any numbering is okay. So let's continue. Now we do hobbies. The next thing is hobbies or interest. Hobbies or interest. You mention any two hobbies relevant to the job. Here you mention any two hobbies or interests relevant to the job. Yeah, so you must make sure the hobbies or the hobbies or interests that you mentioned are relevant to the job. Like for example, if you're looking for a job as a doctor, you won't by you saying that you know how to, you like dancing, you see, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so you make sure you write something that is directly related to the job that you're applying for.
But wait, madam. Madam.
So is that clear?
Madam.
I can hear you.
Now you're applying to be a doctor. You're applying to be a doctor. So
yes,
like you see, dancing can be valid because it can be used as a stress reliever. So it will show you're the person that you want to get the job from that. This person is really conscious about their health and they want to improve service delivery.
Stress reliever.
You just something that is should directly, like for example, let's say for me apply a job as a teacher of English and literature. So my hobbies can include my hobbies can be something like reading journals. You see something that shows you really, this is someone who's connected to his or her job. But when I read something that is so off, people will be like, is this teacher really come to deliver or will come to do, or will always be traveling? I say now my hobbies are traveling or dancing or swimming. How is swimming and literature related? Or how is dancing and teaching? Okay, literature probably dancing. I can be helping you in oral poetry or something. But anyway, you just write something will even give you an upper hand when you're applying for a job. Our time is almost up. So, and then now when you're writing your hobbies, you can number them. You just make sure you number your hobbies. Next, it's referees. Next, now the last part or the last subtitle, it's referees. So provide names of 2 or 3 people. Provide names of 2 or 3 people. Provide names of 2 or 3 people with their class and position. Provide names of 2 or 3 people with position that an employer can contact for information about you. Provide names of 2 or 3 people with their contacts and position that employer can contact for information about you. Provide names of 2 or 3 people, their contact and position that an employer can contact for information about you. They could be teachers, lecturers, or superiors in your workplace, or even religious leaders. They could be teachers, lecturers, or superiors in your workplace, or religious leaders. And in this is just a tip. In future, when you're writing your CVs to apply for jobs, please make sure you talk your referees first, and talk to people whom you know they will talk about and they are
Hey, madam.
The teacher still
Good
there?
night. Good night.
Hey, madam.
Is the teacher still there?
Nah, ametuambia good night
No,
akalala.
no, 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 no.
Thank you for the lesson.
Lesson kufala tu.
Kwani wewe ndo ulikuwa unafunzwa?
Last lot sinyamaza.
Unlimited,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Unlimited thanks.
Sasa food.
Sati.
So I'm back. At what point did I disappear? People, I'm back. At what point did I disappear? I didn't even realize. Didn't I say it?
Ulikuwa kwa referees.
The last
Realize.
You're saying about
I
the
have
religious
thought
leaders.
so much about it. Yes?
You were just concluding.
You're winding up.
You're winding up about the superiors in your workplace.
Oh, yeah. Did I mention? Okay, now let me repeat. I said, when you're writing your contact, make sure you write people to these people first. If it's probably your teacher in your former school, make sure this teacher knows you very well and they will talk well about you. If it's a HR manager, make sure you are never at loggerheads with this person, or this is a person who will talk well about you. So when you're writing your referees can determine whether you get that job or not, because the moment they talk they talk ill about you, you're definitely not going to get that job. So make sure you write the referees who will talk well about you and who will highly recommend you for the job. Are we together?
Yes, we're together.
Yes,
Yes.
Malim.
So I think I'm done with the CV writing. So who has a KMF? I want, before I take in your questions, we will be doing the question for that was done in 2012. The question for 2012. So you make sure assignment for share amongst your groups so that everyone to that question. Is that clear? So now your questions are welcome. Any question that you have regarding CV writing. And then I think because I will be mainly taking you through functional writings.
Excuse me, madam.
Madam umeenda.
Excuse me, madam.
What is the assignment?
Thank you for the lesson.
Okay, Brandon. Brandon,
We
you were
didn't
saying
get the
those notes to
assignment.
people.
Eti alafu mimi tunaongea sana. Nachofala.
Hello, I'm back.
We didn't get the assignment.
The assignment.
I'm back.
M-Pesa.
CV writing. Someone?
Repeat, pardon.
There is the person. Raz, ni nani?
Which year?
2012.
2012.
I read.
No, you type, no, it's not reading now. You type the question. You will just type the question and share amongst the WhatsApp groups. Tuko pamoja?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so any question regarding CV writing? Any question?
Sure, Mimi.
Yes?
It's not a question, but please forward the notes that you used to teach us so that all of us can have references for us to confirm whether we wrote the right thing.
Okay, I will do that. Brand, please share. I shared with our 4M. So I think Brandon, Brandon.
Yes.
And I will ask Brandon to share with you in your respective WhatsApp groups. Though, of course, there are some additional notes that are not here that I've added. But what functional writing do you want us to cover next time?
Recipe.
Do you think about
Recipe.
Yeah, recipe. It's okay.
Memes.
What else?
Hey, kuna mtu ameshinda kupumua.
Anyway, what you do, maintain silence. What you do, just if you have any function that you feel that you did understand or the to cover to Brandon, you just compile all of them and then you let me know which ones. So I think we are done for our lesson today. I'm very tired. I've never talked for this long in a long time. So we are done with our lesson for today. Please make sure you you never know when we are coming back to school whether you getting directly to exams happened. Please keep on seeing widely. You're not on holiday, people. Are we together?
Yes.
Revise widely,
Yes.
consult. If it's revision materials, ask your parents to get them for you. If you have any question, we are always here to address them. Always, you have our contacts already. Just get in touch and we will address your questions. So for today, it's bye. See you next time.
Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you, teacher.
Limited.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you sana.
Limited Wi-Fi.
Usikae tena bana.
Ai, si lesson imeisha kwani?
Jaji alifikaje huko?
Yes, Cafe Bar.
Nelson.
Yes.
Muda tunajua. Eti imestart.
Sasa mko goofy AF man.
What's the next lesson?
Yo. Yo.
Nyote mnajua Mbiro bado kwa
Watu wangu.
See, kuna short break before next lesson.
Mumerege kiasi hapa.
Geng ya kuota jua before next lesson.
Yanking sweet. The ball yesterday was to be.
Mtu aite deng mbio manzi.
ni watu nawaambia Mbiro bado kwa hapa. Ni sawa anyway.
Swahili in the afternoon, alafu baadaye
Bwana.
Yeah.
Acha nikutext.
Jere rada. Rada
Kaka kuna ile simu. Asante. Kasha ni sesiaro. Naweza wana ni. Ya. Lakini ya Kaya wala kan ngwan. Anda sana. Ya. Ini pesa yangu nimetumia kwani unaumia nini? Nimepatia pesa yangu. Siarna shahidi akawa basi. Marana sasa mimi sijambia uko na do. Kana yule aje. Sivyo.
Nicole. Eh? Eh. Tujipanguze. Bro, tunasikia kuona mwanga hapo. Buda mute.
Bryce, you mute.
Ati ni mute. Hebu chill. Crap.
Expelled from the squad. Wasn't it?
Tageria gwĩka ũguo ndeka. Hmm. Tũgwĩka atĩa?
I believe I can fly.
Good morning, students. Mr. Obiro. Yes, Obiro. Naona wanaingia. By then the first round walikuwa ngapi? This is it. Hawa watoto ni wadogo. Nani? Wa? Hatua gani hao? Amekuwa na wangapi?
Kwani imehang tena? Unadaika saa yako.
Sasa kusema ukweli,
Wana walifly na kwanza ngapi? Saa 5.
Ni Bella.
Nini?
Bella kama namba. Kama namba yako.
Eventati imefika.
Tunafaa kwa lesson gani saa hizi?
Kem.
Bella namba.
Kwenye mwonge.
Okay, I think we just going to give like 2 or 3 minutes, then we can start the program. Mr. Obiro, I think the time is ready. Mr. Obiro.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Oh, you're able to hear me? Okay, good. So I think I can just give me 1 minute. I organize my things, then we can. Yes?
5 minutes, please. We can start in 11:37.
11:37, eh? So because I can see they are now the 87. So
the numbers are increasing. Issue we can touch past 100.
Mr. Naktare amefika. Mr. Naktare, are you there? Maybe you unmute yourself if you are able to. He's there. I'm able to see, but he's mute.
He's in?
Yes, Naktare Wekesa, unless there is a student called Naktare Wekasa. Mr. Naktare, unmute yourself.
See Naktare.
Yeah, I've seen Naktare Wekesa. He's labeled Naktare Wekesa, unless he's in the forest.
Ah, yes. There's Naktare Wekesa.
Yeah.
But I doubt.
He may not be him.
The one, but let me prompt you.
I think before we start, I think the students can unmute themselves so that we can also know whether they are also getting us. Eh?
Hello, Mbaluka.
Yes.
Mbaluka.
Yes, Naktar.
Morning. Good morning. How are you?
We are fine. We are very magnetic here. We are still magnetizing the world.
Okay, I'm in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Naktare, karibu sana.
Asante.
Okay, students, you can unmute. Mr. Obiro, unmute them before we start so that we can just have a few engagements.
Yeah, you can tell them to unmute themselves.
Yeah. Students, unmute yourselves. There's no students, unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Yes,
yeah. You unmute yourself. Yeah. If you don't know how to unmute yourself, then you just ask somebody to magnetically show you how to unmute. Okay, we are now at 11. We are 2 minutes away, so you can you can just air your views. Then we'll be able, by the end of the day, we'll be able to give you the terms of engagement so that we are able to benefit from this. I don't know where your friends are, so can you also contact them so that they can join us? I can see we are now 1 or 2. Mr. Obiro, I think the best we start at 11:40.
That's okay, sir. That's okay.
Yeah, that'll be okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Honest.
Hello, sir.
He looks like Homer. Thank goodness. Also looks like he's handsome. He looks like you. Because even if you were your face is not painted. Because yours is
Poxa. Saiu.
Okay, good morning, students.
Good morning.
Okay, I hope you are able to hear me. You're able to get me loud and clear. We are just about to start our program today, or the first lesson. So welcome to our first lesson today. We probably expect you to see you because you are able also to see me. So I'll wish that I'm able to see you. So that some allotropes are not able to leave the phone there, the camera is on, then we just assume you are there, then you are in the forest. You have already sublimed. So if possible, make sure that we are able to see you. The terms of engagement, I think you've also been told that make sure that you're always mute. But for now, I said you can unmute yourself so that you can we can just engage for just 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 42 microseconds before we start our lesson. Mr. Naktar, maybe you can greet the students.
Okay. Is it afternoon already?
Lunchtime.
Not
Okay.
yet.
Not yet, eh? So good morning, class. Eh?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
I'm going to be on the sidelines to observe how we are going to go through with this session. I hope that we are going to have a very successful introduction. Mr. Mbaluka is going to take us through a few things about chemistry. But if you feel you have got any questions, please you'll be putting them on the chat. I'll see if I can be able to manage those chats. So if you have got any queries, it's good that you put them on the chat. I'll keep on checking, and we shall respond to them as time goes. Otherwise, I believe that you are keeping safe. I know I can see you don't have masks on, those ones who have videos, but we hope that this thing will end soon so that we can meet physically. Otherwise, I want to wish you a nice lesson and let's enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Naktar. I don't want to believe that everybody is able to hear me as I am going to start. Students, those who are not mute, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. As Mr. Nakere has said, we are expecting to start. Of course, I can say we are 130. We still expect to get around 300 students minimum. Or we have decided, because there is a part that we have not talked about, and that is the area of practical. So we are going to give you the practical drills. The notes on practical, clarify the practicals, because that is an area that we have not tackled much. So theoretically, we are going to navigate via the practical analysis, because we have done a lot of theory work. So work with us as we try to simplify and try to illuminate this area, which carries 40 marks. Practical in paper 3 and carries 40 marks, that is around 40%, so it's very important. So we want to prepare you so that when we get back to school, we'll be able now to be able to continue with the syllabus, and also you'll be able to do the practical. So I'll use a shared screen. So to write notes as I continue, I'm going to be a little bit go moderately slow so that we're able to write whatever I'm talking about. If there is an area that you want me to repeat, you can unmute yourself, voice your concern, but mostly write in the chat. Mr. Nakere is controlling the chat so that now, if there is a question which has an issue, then maybe Nakere will bring it forward, and then we'll also give you permission to ask the question. If you find the question is a little bit, it might be relevant to all of us, then we'll be told, or rather you'll be allowed to ask a question. If you can ask on the chat, then you'll just ask. If you can be able to answer the question via the chat, then Mr. Nakare will do so. So, that's the shared screen. Sorry, there is something. Mr. Nakar, Mr. Obiro. Mr. Obiro? As Mr. Obiro sublimed. Nakar? Mr. Nakar?
Yes, Madam Beluka.
I was just wondering because I wanted to record, but I'm not able to record. I think there's a problem with that. So I don't know what has happened.
Okay, let me contact Ombiro.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to record, but you know, I'm not seeing him. So as a result, it becomes very difficult because I cannot record unless we are supposed to record, and he has to allow us. I think he has not made me the co-admin. Are you a co-admin? Are you a co-host?
No.
He has not made.
Let me call him.
And that will be very difficult even for you to control the chat. So tell him to do the necessary so that we can be able to start.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially when we are not the co-host, it will be very difficult even for you to control any student who might be misbehaving, or because you cannot be able to remove that particular person.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing recording. It's recording here.
Yeah, that is Mr. Obiro recording, possibly, but not us. But there's no problem. It is as you can be able to see from the admin side, is the one who is recording, and he's supposed to make us co-host, but we can still continue. There's no problem because we'll still be able to get it from him. So it's only that now without Mr. Nakara being the co-host, then it will be very difficult even to control you and even to mute me. So. Okay, good. Are you able to see the shared screen?
Yes.
Students?
Yes.
You're able to see the shared screen?
Yes.
Good. Now we can continue. Very magnetic. So today we are going to deal with the organic chemistry the practical analysis. That is what you're going to deal with. So we'll want to know, this is question number 3. So we expect this kind of a question to find it under chemistry question number 3 that carries 10 marks. So if you listen to this analysis by the end of the today, you'll have saved 10 marks. And there is nothing that will be tested that is outside what you're going to navigate today. So today we are going to unpack, illuminate, and demystify organic chemistry practical. So today we're only dealing with organic chemistry practical. So that one is not necessary. That one is can continue. So the lesson objective is that we are focusing on the following: what is tested, how it is tested, and what is expected. We are focusing on what is tested, how it is tested, and what is expected. So we are focusing on the expectation of the examiner as far as this one is concerned, or as far as this one is concerned. So now, okay, good. We are looking at, as far as organic qualitative analysis is concerned, what is tested, how it is tested, and what is expected. So we are focusing on the examination content. It is important to understand that in organic qualitative analysis, we are testing for the functional groups. We are looking for the functional groups and not the homologous series. So at no particular time that we expect a student to talk about, at no particular time do we expect a student to talk about that alkanes present, or alkanol present. We are looking at the functional groups. Now write whatever I've written there. That is what the examiner can test. This is what can be tested by the examiner. This is what can be tested by the examiner. And that is, can be able to look at that. You can write that. That's what we expect from the examiner. So the organic qualitative analysis will test for the following. The checklist is 10. So can you write it? Once you write it, by the time we finish the exam, we expect you to be able to tell me, now what does, when you add water, what are the expectations of the examiner? When you burn, so under organic qualitative analysis, we expect you to be able to know what does each of those reagents test. So we are talking about, you'll be taught to add water, burn, add bromine water, add sodium carbonate stroke, add sodium hydrogen carbonate, add acidified potassium dichromate 6, add acidified potassium manganese 7, carry out esterification, add magnesium ribbon, we are here. I think you are following. You can be taught add ethanol, burn, add bromine water, add sodium hydrogen carbonate, add acidified potassium dichromate 6, add acidified potassium manganese 7, esterification, add magnesium ribbon, test the pH, and add sodium hydroxide. By the way, you can still be able to screenshot, because if I know some of you are using phones, you can simply be able to screenshot that thing. Is that okay? Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, good. We are saying.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you have a question?
Proceed.
No. Yes? Somebody
No
was asking a
questions.
question? Yeah?
We proceed.
We proceed.
Okay. There is somebody called King Anyona. I don't know whether you are just enjoying raising up your hand or you have a very serious issue. So, number one, can you be more magnetic than allotropic? Now, Or how the yes, how the compound bonds. Here we are testing for unsaturation. How the compound bonds. Here we are testing for unsaturation. So you can be taught either you scoop a solid and you place it in a, normally here we use a metallic spatula, place it in a, you ignite it using an anomalous flame. If it is a solid, you're going to use a metallic spatula. If it is a liquid, you're going to use a watch glass. Then you add 2 drops, not 28 drops. So what are you going to see? The solid can burn with a blue flame, or it can burn with a yellow sooty flame. So anybody can attempt when a substance burns with a blue flame. What is the inference? Somebody to guess? Think you have done that? When a compound burns with a blue flame. So when you are burning, there are only 2 options. Either you're going to burn a yellow or a blue. So blue flame, what do you conclude?
The compound is saturated.
The compound is saturated. Another one?
Unsaturated.
Unsaturated.
Unsaturated. Good.
Unsaturated.
What about yellow flame?
The compound is
saturated.
Unsaturated.
Unsaturated.
Okay, good. Now, this is how you do it. You will represent that one using the functional group. What the functional group for that? That's it. So when you look here, unsaturation, tumesema burning, test for unsaturation. Unsaturation is presence of double bond or triple bond. So the inference, which is the simply conclusion, should be either when you go to an hospital. But let me finish this. Either we are testing for unsaturation. Unsaturated compound will burn with a yellow flame or yellow sooty flame. So when a compound burns with a blue flame, it is not saturated. So you say double bond, triple bond, absent. But when it burns with a yellow sooty flame, you're going to say double bond, triple bond, present when it burns a yellow sooty flame. Remember, there is no answer like this compound is saturated. And let me tell you this, of course, anybody want to seek clarification here?
Yes.
Yes, Uliza.
Mwalimu, will you write the hydrogen? Will you put the hydrogen there? Will you add?
Yeah, that guy is a magnet. He's answering the question in a very magnetic manner. That's the correct. Okay, whatever you write, you don't write the hydrogen. Remember, when you put hydrogen, you are like if you put like hydrogen here. Let me show you.
Check.
So when you put hydrogen here, unaona kweli?
Yes.
When you put a hydrogen there, that now becomes ethene. So now you deviate from the first rule, which I said, we are not testing for homologous series. We are testing for the functional group. So the functional group in an alkene is double bond. So you don't give the hydrogen. That is very correct. That's one of the things. Another common blunder is that a student will write like this. Ataandika hivi. Are there other students who want to say, why are we not writing like that? Are you able to see that?
Yeah.
Yes. So some students will say, when it burns the blue flame, they are going to say, now the single bond present. It is wrong. When you are burning, you are looking for a yellow flame. If the yellow flame is present, then that is presence of double bond. But if it burns the blue flame, it means double bond, triple bond is absent. It's just like when you go to an hospital, then there is a lab test whereby the doctor carries a lab test for malaria. what are your expectations? Either you're going to be told you have malaria or you don't have malaria. Not
Yes,
that because you don't have malaria, you are kwashiorkor positive. That one cannot happen. It depends on what you are testing. If you are testing for malaria, the result is either you are positive for malaria or negative for malaria. Are you getting concept right?
Yes.
So when you are burning, you are testing for unsaturation. Unsaturation is represented using the
Madam.
double bond. And
Kwenda kwa duka.
yes. Yes. What is it? Is there any problem? Ama tuko sawa?
Tuko sawa.
Okay, very good. So that is the point that I was saying about. So make sure that you're able to capture that very, very magnetically.
Clarification, please.
Yes?
Clarification.
Yes, Uliza.
Now, why don't we include alkanoic acids yet they also burn with a yellow sooty flame?
Geoffrey, where did you run? You ulisoma wapi? That is not correct.
I asked.
Alkanos burn with a yellow sooty flame. No. Yeah, yes. Geoffrey, let me clarify that. Let's clarify that. As I've said, double bonds, or rather, are the burning, combustion does not test for presence of ROH. Tunaelewana,
Yeah.
Combustion does not test for ROH. And remember, there's also another blunder. There's also another blunder here. The whereby a student will write like this. Look at this. This will be cacamoniously and in a very cantankerous manner penalized. That when you are giving the formula for double bond, each carbon atom should be able to should show the 4 tetrabonds. That the 4 bonds of carbon must be shown. So this one, when you write it like that, we are going to penalize you. A double bond should, okay, let me just change the whatever. So for it to be correct, you must make sure that each one has 4 bonds. 1, 2, I don't know whether you're able even to see that because I'm just showing using my hand. Let me use my or rather my laser pointer. So if this is carbon atom, should have how many bonds? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the point. That if it doesn't have the 4 bonds, then automatically you are going to undergo rusting in that particular moment. I think, okay, good. Okay.
Sure.
Yes?
Instead of using those symbols, can you just like write double bond, triple bond present in words?
No.
Yeah.
That is not chemistry. You can take a double bond, triple bond present. Just use the correct symbols. It will be the simplest for you. If you don't know how to do it, just practice, please. We don't talk about, the only thing that we can mark there is the compound is unsaturated, and we are going to give you a half a mark. So that is this whereby being the examiner, we are going to invoke the chaplet of divine mercy and award you half a mark. That is a bursary mark. So as a magnetic mighty Busharian, you should be able to correct the correct chemistry, and that is the correct chemistry. Tunaelewana?
Yeah.
Yes. I know you are magnetic, so we have to understand the correct chemistry. Test for solubility. Solubility is whereby we are testing for polarity. So remember what I said, burning, hatuna haraka. So unakumbuka ile list nilikupea. So hapo unafaa kuwa umeweka something like this. Umeweka like in the burning, whereby we are saying burn. You should have written, ungeandika kitu kama, okay. Ungeandika burn. Ungeandika double bond, triple bond, or double bond, triple bond, absent, double bond, triple bond, absent by that time. So by now, when you are testing for solubility, you are looking for polarity. Polarity, either you're going to say something is polar or it is non-polar. We are in organic chemistry, not testing for cations and anions. So for organic, water, you have to know there are only 2 solvents that we are likely going to use. Either no or water. Water is a polar solvent. Either no by convention, it is non-polar. We treat ethanol as a non-polar solvent. We treat water as a polar solvent. So a polar solvent will dissolve polar compounds. I want to believe you are capturing that one. You are capturing that point in a ruthless manner. So we are talking about water, which is a polar solvent. So if a solute, if a substance dissolves in water, then you can authoritatively and pragmatically confirm this compound is polar. If a compound, yes?
Pardon?
If a compound dissolves in water, then you conclude the inference it is a polar substance. If a substance dissolves in ethanol, then you conclude it is a non-polar substance. There is somebody who is sharing the screen, and I'm going to deal with you cacamoniously. So can you stop sharing the... Sorry. Okay. So test for polarity now. Sorry, tumeenda mbali. Test for polarity. If it is a solid, you're going to place the solid in a test tube, then you add distilled water. Yes?
Malim,
Yes?
can you go back to the previous screen?
This one?
Yeah, but
Okay,
Hiyo?
you can move on.
Uko sawa?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, we want to look at if it is a solid. If it is a solid, you put in a test tube and you add distilled water. What are your expectations? There are only two observations. Either the solid will dissolve in water or will not dissolve in water. How do you see? The solid dissolves in water to form a colorless solution. What is the inference?
It's polar.
The substance is polar. Very good. The substance is polar. So let's see. That's the answer. Polar organic compound. Just say it's a polar solvent, a polar compound, or rather, just say it's a polar compound. Just enough. Just saying like that. Now, when it can also have another option. Who is this fella? Who is just trying to, let me, Mr. Obiro, Mr. Nakhtar. Mr. Nakhtar, deactivate the remote control for all the participants except me, and also the screen sharing. Deactivate. Or tell Obiro to do the same. There are some people here who are just practicing. I don't know what they're even practicing. And you know I cannot rap because it's not on my side. This is a Katankaras person. So, Mr. Nakhtar yako, Mr. Nakhtar, are you able to hear me? Oma umejimute. Mr. Nakhtar.
Yo.
Mr. Obiro.
Yo.
Kuna mtu anaona kweli? Let me check from there. Naktare. Mr. Naktare. I think they have sublimed, but anyway, I think it's okay. So just check those those allotropes, those synthetic allotropes like Buckminster fullerene that are sharing the screen. That is not good. That is not magnetic. Now, you can also have as another scenario whereby the solid partially dissolved in water. Some solid remain undissolved. Then you're going to conclude that is a non-polar compound. So there are two options. Remember, you cannot be given an exam whereby you're going to put a solid in test tube and then it does not dissolve. There will be nothing to carry out. So there are only two options. The solid dissolved in water to form a colorless solution. You say that is polar. Or the solid dissolved in water, or rather partially dissolved in water, or rather some solid remain undissolved, then you conclude that substance is non-polar. Can we conclude? Can we continue?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, we capture that, and I think you are taking screenshots. By the end of the day, I'll still be able to get I'll still be able to give you the what is it? Let me deactivate.
Chadi.
Yeah. Okay, test for polarity, we are still continuing. If it's a liquid now, when I talk about a liquid, you cannot talk about a liquid is a, like I hope you're able to see this one. For example, if you're adding a liquid here, are you able to see me, by the way?
Yes.
If you add a liquid, let me see, this one, you know, you're not able to see proper. One
Yes.
just want to ceremoniously remove this so that it doesn't misbehave. I want to believe you're able to see on my side, and fortunately, I don't know why I'm like this. This one is very cacamonious. So this is like a liquid. So when you dissolve a liquid, when you add a liquid to another liquid, then you cannot talk about it is soluble. You talk about miscibility. Like this one, if you have added a liquid here and it behaves like that, then you're going to say the liquid is miscible with water and forms a uniform solution, or rather forms an homogeneous mixture. Like this one is an homogeneous mixture. So when you're adding a liquid to water, you are looking for miscibility. Possibly you are looking for formation of two layers. So if you cannot remember that word homogeneous mixture, just say a uniform solution or no two layers are formed. And then what you conclude, the inference is the substance is polar. You can also have a scenario whereby the liquid is immiscible with water and forms two layers. At that particular point, you're going to say the liquid is non-polar. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, magnetic.
So you
Yes.
simply say, if you can simply say, if it is immiscible, you can simply say no two layers. Then you're talking about the substance is non-polar. What about when you're adding ethanol? When you're adding ethanol, solid dissolved in ethanol to form a colored solution. What will be the inference?
Non-polar substance.
You're going to say
It's a
what?
non-polar substance.
Non-polar.
Eh?
Non-polar.
It's a non-polar
Very
substance.
good. Naona mko magnetic, so it is non-polar.
Magnet.
Non-polar. Yeah, because
Yes.
ethanol is non-polar solvent.
Yeah.
There is somebody who is making noise. Please, can that fella do the necessary? Another one, we are also adding 2 cm³ of the liquid and a few drops of ethanol. So you are adding ethanol to a few drops of the liquid and it's mixable with ethanol to form a uniform solution. Then again, you're going to say this one is what? Still
Non-polar.
Good. You know, you are magnetized in that particular moment. Esterification. Esterification, contrarily, where is Geoffrey now? Esterification, contrary to what you see in KLB and other books, that we are now going practically to use a dilute sulfuric acid. So here you have added ethanol and a few drops of corn sulfuric acid, stroke 2 molar. 2 molar sulfuric acid means what? 2 molar means dilute and warm. There should be and warm. Ongeza hapo and warm. So when you warm, you are going to, the expectation there will be a what? A pleasant smell, not sweet. We don't mark sweet smell.
Pleasant.
It's pleasant. So what do you conclude is present? Let me see. What do you conclude is present?
Ester present.
Somebody to try?
Ester present.
Presence of an alkanoic acid.
Presence is the of alkanoic acid. What is the functional group for alkanoic acid?
HQ.
At the HQ. It is the carboxyl group and inaandikangwa
Oh, sorry.
hivyo.
Thank you.
Carboxyl group inaandikwa hivyo. Presence of carboxyl group. You can also write it like this. Unaweza andika hivi R C O O H like that. You can just write like that. Unaweza andika tu hivyo RCOH hivyo or dash COH. COH is wrong. Now ukiandika COOH is wrong. It must have a dash here. That's how you do it. So it must be like that. So that's how you draw the either COH, RCOH, and of that is present. Why? Because the pleasant smell is made up from an ester. And an ester is made up of an alkano plus an alkanoic acid. So if you have added an alkano, then it follows the substance that was mixed with ethanol must be an alkanoic acid to form an ester. That's why the conclusion there is RCOOH present. You can also add ethanoic acid. You can also add ethanoic acid followed by a few drops of dilute or rather strong sulfuric acid. And what do you see now from there? You get a pleasant smell. And when you get a pleasant smell, what do you conclude is present?
ROH.
ROH. Just like that. And I hope there's nobody who uses sweet smell. Unfortunately, you're going to find it in some of the revision books talking about sweet smell. But when you're talking about a sweet, you are talking about taste. Yes. And the taste is perceived by the taste buds, which are found in the tank. Smell is perceived by the olfactory buds, which are found in the nose. So it is more important for you to be able to capture that. Sasa kuna watu hapa wamekuja kufanya tu vituko. Note, test for organic compound whereby you add ethanol is sometimes confused by students with esterification. But esterification is addition of ethanol is followed by addition of few drops of concentrated rather dilute sulfuric acid and warming. So remember this, that there is whereby you'll be told to add ethanol, but there's nothing else that is added. There you are dealing with solubility. But in some instances, you'll be told to add ethanol followed by sulfuric acid. So don't confuse whereby we are dealing with solubility with whereby we are dealing with esterification. It's very important for you to be able to capture that. As for the pH, place 2 cm cubed of liquid.
Yeah, please.
Yes? Yeah?
Please go back to that. I
Previous.
haven't finished. Logo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you are using a phone, just screenshot.
Try the previous one.
E is stratification.
Before this.
Yeah? E.
Yes.
Okay. Acha ni rub kitu yetu. Inakusumbua tu. Ama pia hiyo unataka. Can you continue?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. Very good. So I've said, don't confuse solubility and esterification. When you are simply adding ethanol to a solid, period, we can have an issue there. I'm seeing so many charts there. I don't know whether Mr. Naktar. Mr. Naktar. Mr. Naktar, uko hapa kweli? I'm just looking at so that okay. Let me look at the name. I'm just looking at the chart. There's a question that has been asked, and it is already Rudia, by the way. So the issue of esterification, a student has said whereby you use conc. Nimesema, for practicals, we don't use concentrated acid due to safety precautions. If concentrated acid comes into contact with your skin, it can easily cause a lot of damage. So for safety precautions, despite all the books talking about esterification uses concentrated sulfuric acid, still dilute acid can still be used for practical purposes. But for theory, you will either theoretically use conc acid. But for practical, when you're going to be using dilute acid and warming, then you just know that that can still be esterification. That is how we do it. Number two, there is a student from the chart I have seen that there's a student from the chart who has asked whether there are some substances that can dissolve in both ethanol and water. Yes, you have done a very good job because you have reminded me something. Remember this, now this one can be set in the exam, and I want you to listen very carefully. You are provided with a solid H. Then you divide it into two portions. Are you listening, students?
Yes.
Yes. You have a solid H. Then you divide it into two portions. To the first portion, you add water. After adding water, you test the pH. You get pH 1. What do you conclude? The substance is what? Strongly acidic. You add, there's no problem. I can just clarify this. You are saying you get a solid H. You divide it into two. To the first portion, you add water. Then you divide the resulting solution into two portions. To the first portion, you test the pH. The pH is pH 1. Conclusion, strongly acidic. Number two, you add sodium hydrogen carbonate. There are bubbles of a gas there are bubbles of a colorless, odorless gas. Then you conclude hydrogen ion, hydroxonium, RCOH present. Now you go for point number 2. The portion of the same solid, you add ethanol. And you test the pH. What will be the pH there? Somebody to guess. What will be the pH?
Pardon the question.
I've said you have a solid H. You have divided the solid H into two portions. The first portion you have dissolved in water, dissolved to form a colorless solution. Then a portion of the solution you have got after adding water, you test the pH, you get pH 1, strongly acidic. You add sodium carbonate, bubbles of a colorless odorless gas. Then you conclude RCOH or hydrogen ion present. Now, portion 2 of the same solid, you add ethanol. Then you dissolve still in ethanol to form a colorless solution. And you test the pH. What will be the pH there? Just guess. Unmute yourself, answer the question.
7.
pH what?
7.
pH 7. Who is that pH 7?
7.
The one for pH 7, correct. pH 1, wrong. You are required to invoke the concept you learned in effect of a solvent on the nature of a solute. Do you remember somewhere you learned HCl in methyl benzene and HCl in water? Do you remember that?
Yes.
HCl in water, because it's polar, will be acidic. But in methyl benzene, because it's non-polar, will be neutral. Are you getting that right? Huh?
Yes.
Yes, so that's the point. That's the same thing. You invoke the same concept. Water is a polar solvent. Ethanol is non-polar. We can have a substances that dissolve in both water and ethanol. But the once the same substance dissolves in water, if it is acidic, it will exhibit all the acidic properties. But when it dissolves in ethanol, it will exhibit non-polar property, that is molecular property. So the same compound, if you take the pH, you're going to get pH 7 neutral. You add sodium carbonate, no bubbles. Hydrogen ion, hydroxonium, RCOH present. Can you go and refer to KCSE of 2009? That was the question that was tested, question 3. I remember this, in that kind of a scenario, wherever you're answering that kind of a question, you remember the following, that the boiling tubes, or rather the test tubes you are using, they must be dry. You must use dry test tubes. Why? If by any mistake you use test tubes that are not dry, they have some droplets of water, what will happen? Even if you add ethanol, the drops of water will make the resulting solution acidic. So all of them will be pH 1, pH 1. Bubbles. Mmeshika hiyo vizuri, eh?
Yes.
Have you got that one?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
good now. That's very magnetic. Let me go back to, let me see if there is any serious chat. Yeah. Now, somebody has said, so the pleasant smell is the smell of alcohol. No, let me clarify this. Uliza tu maswali, hakuna shida. Don't worry. We are here. We are at your service. Wait, let me get back. Kuna mtu amepotea. There is somebody cacamoniously lost. So let me see. What's up? Now, somebody is asking, kuna mtu amechanganyikiwa hapa. Let me go back. So the sweet smell is the smell of ethanol. No. A pleasant smell is a smell of an ester. And an ester is formed when an alkano reacts with an alkanoic acid. When you meet a woman who is very good, very magnetic, and after 3 months, you meet with the same woman, but with a protruding stomach, being pregnant, it means that woman must have met a man who could have carried out a chemical reaction to form a white precipitate, which is shown in the name of the pregnancy. Look at that. Tumesema hivi, umeongeza ethanol na ukapata pleasant smell. Pleasant smell is the smell of an ester. And an ester is found when alcohol reacts with an alkanoic acid. So you add a compound X, ukaongeza ethanol, then you add a pleasant smell. So that compound X must have been a what? An alkanoic acid. In the same scenario, if you add craft compound X and you add alkanoic acid and you get a pleasant smell, it means that compound X must have been an alkano. So get that one seriously. The pleasant smell is not the smell of alcohol or alkanoic acid. It is the smell of an ester. And don't be misguided by things and book which tells you It has a fruity smell. Can you listen very carefully? The word is pleasant, not fruity. Some fruit smell so bad. They don't have a very magnetic smell. So that kind of a scenario is very important. That is the correct case. When you're testing the pH, you place a solution in a test tube and you test the pH using the universal indicator paper. By the way, Munaona, are you seeing the shared screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Very magnetic.
Yeah.
So can you,
Very magnetic.
when you, the pH, when you're taking the pH, the only observations are as follows. You may get pH 1, pH 2, or pH 3. When you get pH 1, pH 2, pH 3, what do you conclude the inference will be what?
Strongly acidic.
It is what?
Strongly acidic.
It is
Strongly acidic.
It is strongly
acidic.
acidic. Very magnetic. When you get, and remember, not pH 1 to 3. You have to give a specific pH, either pH 1, either pH 2, either pH 3. Then you conclude strongly acidic, not strong acid. You get pH 4, pH 5, pH 6, you say weakly acidic. What about pH 8, pH 9, pH 10?
Weakly basic.
Weakly basic or weakly alkaline. Any is magnetically correct. You get pH 11, pH 12, pH 14, or yes. What do you conclude is present? The inference will be what?
A strong base.
Strongly basic.
Strongly alkaline or rather strongly basic. Then you can get pH 7. pH 7, what do you conclude?
Neutral.
It is neutral. And don't say strong acid. Don't say weak acid. Because you don't know the substance. The substance may be acidic, but not an acid. Capture that one very clearly. Make sure that you're able to get that one.
Pardon, Mwalimu.
I've said, don't say a strong acid. Should be strongly acidic. A substance can be acidic, but not necessarily an acid. Like lemon is acidic, but lemon is not an acid itself. Aluminium sulfate, aluminium chloride, aluminium nitrate, all sorts of aluminium, all sorts of iron 3 are acidic. But are they acid themselves? No. So that is very much important for you to be able to understand. But for paper 2 and the theory, when you are told to give the pollution effect of sulfur 6 oxide, sulfur 4 oxide, nitrogen 4 oxide, you say sulfur 4 oxide dissolves in rainwater, forming acid rain, not acidic rain. Do you know the reason why?
No.
Or I clarify.
Clarify.
Nimesema, theoretically somebody can tell you the pollution effect caused by gases like sulfur oxide or nitrogen oxide. The answer is they dissolve in rainwater, forming acid rain, not acidic rain. There we don't talk about acidic because of one scenario. And I want to explain so that you understand the chemistry behind that. When you dissolve sulfur 4 oxide in water, what do you get? You get sulfur?
Sulfuric 6. Sulfuric 6 acid.
Abum rust in wholesale.
Sulfurous 4.
You get sulfuric 4 acid when you dissolve sulfur oxide in water. So you even see the answer is sulfuric 4. Already you know you're already getting an acid. You already know the product is an acid. So that one you will write acid rain because you know the product is an acid. When you dissolve nitrogen 4 oxide in water, you get nitric 3 acid and nitric 5 acid. So already you know the products are acid. That's why you say acid rain. But for organic, you don't know the compound. So you say it is acidic and not an acid. I think now I'm clear. Sawa?
Yes.
Yes.
Very clear.
Let me see if there are some concerns. Mr. Nakar. It's like Mr. Nakar, you have muted yourself.
No, I'm okay.
Oh, I want you to look at the chart so that we can be able to.
In fact, I was responding to some. Huh?
Okay, sir. I think
some of the charts. Huh?
Yeah, sir. Okay.
And there are those ones that we shall maybe talk about at the end. Eh?
Okay, good.
Yes. Thank you.
So somebody is asking about the universal indicator. When you were given an universal indicator, you'll be able to see the color. Of course, that one will be able to do it properly when you go to the lab. But normally, when you insert a universal indicator paper, it's going to give you a color. So you're going to, like, it can give you a color like this. It can give you a color like the one that I'm giving here, which is around orange. So you'll match that color with the color that is on the universal indicator paper. Then you write that pH because it will be given from the pH chart. Don't know why my
Hello.
Hello, Akupata.
Excuse me, Bwana Mbaluka and the rest. Eh?
Yeah.
Hello, there is a guy who is drawing over your work. Eh?
Hiyo ni mimi nimedraw hiyo ya green.
Okay, then.
Yeah, hiyo ni mimi nimeandika tu, haina shida.
It's fine.
So we continue. Test for acidity stroke alkalinity. You know, we are testing for alkalinity. There are 3 methods: acidity or alkalinity. You can add sodium carbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate. And you are going to see there are 2 options there: bubbles of a gas. That bubbles of a gas, then you conclude hydroxonium, hydrogen ion, RCOH present. You think RCOH, another animal. Now there is somebody here who is now writing those things. We are going to sublime you to the forest.
Malim.
Yes.
What if we are testing for the pH of a solid?
Eh?
Combo class.
pH solid. Then I'm saying,
okay. Okay. Somebody has asked how to tell when you are testing the pH of a solid. Eh? Yes, it can be, but that one you can be taught to describe. Like describe how to determine the pH of solid G. The procedure will be as follows. Dissolve the solid G in distilled water. Step number 1. Tick. Have a mark. Tick mark. Then dip a universal indicator into the resulting solution. Tick. Match the color of the indicator with the pH chart. Then you get the pH. But you cannot be told to insert a universal indicator paper into a solid. So first of all, the procedure, you must, you know, the ions responsible for acidity and alkalinity. If it's for acidity, you require hydrogen ions. So I'm going to deal with you in a very serious manner. So for a solid, you first of all have to dissolve it in water. You cannot test the pH of a solid per se, the way it is. So when you add sodium carbonate, you are looking for bubbles or no bubbles. There is nothing else you are looking for. Bubbles or no bubbles. When there are bubbles, it is hydrogen ion, hydroxonium, RCOH present. RCOH can be drawn like this or this. N is correct. Present. No effervescence, hydrogen ion, hydroxonium, RCOH absent.
Pardon? Repeat.
Just let me. Okay, good. Now we are looking at you're saying I pardon, eh?
Yes.
I've said when you're adding sodium carbonate, you're only looking for two things. Either there'll be bubbles or no bubbles. If there are bubbles, then you say hydrogen ion, hydroxonium, or RC. Any of them is correct, but make sure that this one is there. This one. The RCOH is the most important in this test. Ukiandika tu hata hii peke yake inatosha. Hiyo peke yake inatosha. Si lazima uandike zote. Just write this one alone. All these ones, they present an acidity. But remember, because you are in organic chemistry, the most correct answer is this. Sometimes this one may not score. Why? Because sometimes the examiner might tell you, you are provided with an organic acid H. So that organic acid, the functional group for an organic acid is the carboxyl group. So this is the most correct answer. No effervescence, it is all these ones abundant. The one that we have given there is the one that is very, very important.
Now,
yes.
You have to say all of them.
No, it's not a must. But nimesema, as you give, if you don't want to give all of them, give the what? The
Alkanoic acid.
Yes. Ukiona hii mambo ya kuandika hii mambo ya open structure hapa, hii mambo ya open structure, then you just go with this. This one is easier for everybody to write, isn't it? Ya andika tu hiyo, usijisumbue sana.
Sawa mwalimu.
Haya, good. We can continue. We can continue. Okay. What the time the lesson was ending at what time?
12:50.
12:50, yeah?
12 minutes from now.
So we have 10 minutes. I don't want to go to the next lesson. I can finish with the test for acidity, yeah?
Questions.
Yeah, we can just do questions. Then we can continue next time, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Bring questions. You can, yeah. Mr. Nektar? Any questions so that we can be able to finish up? Because if you're able to finish at 12:50, I'm only saying that we only have 12 minutes remaining. Na hakuna haja tuharakishe, we are here, so we'll be able to simplify those things. By next time, we are going to finish the organic, yes? Any question? You unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
In the test for alkalinity, you say that.
Test for
alkalinity stroke acidity, you say that if there is effervescence, we have H3O plus ions present. What ions are those?
Which ions are those?
Yes. What's their name?
Let me. What's the meaning of the hydroxonium?
Oh.
Let me show you. Let me use my. Sorry. I just want to clear for you. I just want to make a clarification on that so that you are able to understand what they mean. I want to insert. Okay, sorry. I want to, okay. I want to use a blank page so that I can be able to explain better. When you end up. Yeah, good. Okay, no. Now, I want to use this. Now, you are asking, what are these? I think you're able to see the shared screen, eh?
Yes.
Sir.
Yeah.
You're asking, what are these? What are these? You're asking, what are those ones? So this one is simply, hydroxonium is simply formed when you combine water plus hydrogen ions. Look at that. So when an acid dissolves in water, it is associated to produce hydrogen ion. So when you combine hydrogen ion plus water, what do you get? The hydrogen become what? 3. And they have because water has a 0 charge. So the overall charge for this will be 0 plus 1, you get HO3 positive 1. You have understood now?
Yes, thank you, teacher.
Simply means the presence of hydrogen ions in an acid. See, that is the same as hydrogen ion. Either hydrogen ion or hydroxonium, they represent a presence of an acid. Very good. Thank you very dangerous for that. I think now you have understood. Any other question?
Yes.
Yes.
In some books, it is written that when preparing esters, after you've added the alkanol to the mixture of an alkanol and
after you
dilute sulfuric 6 acid. Yeah.
Can you repeat, please? Sikupati vizuri.
I'm saying in some books, it is written that when preparing esters, after adding the alkanoic acid to the mixture of an alkanol and dilute sulfuric 6 acid, you pour the mixture into water so that you can smell the pleasant compounds. Why do we add them to water?
There's no problem with that. That's simply of pouring. You are saying you are pouring it in?
Yes, you are pouring the products into water so that you can feel that pleasant smell.
Okay, there's no problem with that, but simply, you can simply insert a glass rod, then you waft the after you insert the glass rod, like now it is you insert a glass rod, you can waft the product, or rather the whatever the smell from the glass rod via your nose, and you'll be able to feel the smell. You don't have to pour it in water. But depending, many people use different methods. That one has no problem in the way you are able to smell. Another one?
Thank you.
Mr. Doctor, can you look at the chat? Mr. Momanyi is also around. So I think now I'm going to leave the floor to Mr. Momanyi and Mr. Nakare. Maybe you can just maybe say something. If there is no other question, yes?
I have a question. When you talked about solubility, you said when you add a solid in water, it can either partially dissolve or you can say the solid remains undissolved. How do you know if it is partially dissolved?
Yeah, because of just one scenario. I want you to refer you to, because I know you have demystifying chemistry practical and refer to cases of 2012. It's just one scenario. Assume the examiner tells you, place the solid in water and place the solid in a test tube, add distilled water, shake. And then unaona hapo chini the examiner, the presenting anakuambia divide the resulting solution into 4 portions. And then you are adding sodium carbonate, you are also adding bromine water, you are adding potassium permanganate. Can that solid could have been completely insoluble per se? It can't. Because if already you are told to add water and you are seeing there is some solid that has remained undissolved, or rather it's looking like a white precipitate, but the examiner has already told you to divide the resulting solution into several portions. It means some particles of the solid are already dissolved. And let me tell you for this. Remember when I was starting, I said by saying, you focus on what is tested, how it is tested, and what is expected. I have been teaching chemistry for the last 15 years. And I was also a student. So that gives around 20 years interacting with KCC. In that kind of a scenario, you'll never find a question whereby, like for water, even for tests for cations and anions, the exam will be tell you, put the solid in a test tube, add water. Then the inference is does not dissolve in water. It will never happen. The same scenario, even for organic, you cannot be told to put the solid in a test tube, then you add water, then you just say it does not dissolve. Because what will you do after that now? The practical ends at that particular moment. So we cannot have that kind of a scenario. The only thing that can happen is either the solid is partially soluble, or in tests for cations and anions, you are given a mixture of 2 solids. One is soluble, the other one is insoluble, whereby the exam will tell you, add all the solids, place all the solids in the test tube, add water, filter, keep the filtrate and the residue. Then in part 1, you're going to use the filtrate. In part 2, you're going to use the residue. Otherwise, you're not going to have. Assume the examiner gives you solid H, then you dissolve in water and does not dissolve. What will be there now to continue after that? That will be a complete misnomer in that particular kind of a question, and it cannot be tested.
Thank you.
Yes. I think, Dr. you had say something, then we can give the HOS to Mr. Momanyi. Are you there? You can unmute yourself. Mr. Momanyi.
Yes,
Mr. Dr. you say then we can give Mr. Momanyi to talk, because when the president talks, the deputy should not talk. So
I get you, Madam Beluka. Now,
yes.
maybe my observation on the lesson,
Yeah.
I'll wish to encourage the students, please, if you have a question and maybe you are not given a chance to ask, put it in the chat. Somebody will be checking and the response will be given. But again, there are those ones who are misusing the chats. It's like you are picking up a quarrel on the chats. Please, those chats are not meant for other things. It should be strictly for educational purposes. So if you have got anything else to talk to an individual, you can chat privately. You use the private chat to tell that person whatever you have. Otherwise, there is an issue on the smell when we are testing for esterification, when we are carrying out esterification. There is one student, I don't know if it's Nabea, I don't know who that one is. I think he has tried to respond to one of the students who had asked if now maybe the alkanol or the ROH is RC or H is absent, then how do we now report in terms of the smell? And definitely it means that we are checking if there is a pleasant smell. So in that case, we expect that if it's not present, then there'll be no pleasant smell. And so I believe that as we go forward, we are going to be a little bit more disciplined. And I believe that this is for a good cause. And how you behave is going to enable us to move on well. Otherwise, I wish you well. And maybe to Mr. Momanyi, as Mr. Mbaluka has said, you can maybe give your summary of the view of the lesson, and maybe you can.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, before Mr. Momanyi, before you talk, just there's a student attract. If something dissolves in ethanol, what do you conclude? You conclude it is non-polar. If something is miscible in ethanol, it is non-polar. When you add, you can also say no pleasant smell. Somebody has said unpleasant, no pleasant, any is correct. But likely you're not likely going to see those kind of scenarios. Otherwise, Mr. Momanyi, you can finish up.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mbaluka. Thank you, Mr. Naktari. I want to salute the candidates. They have done a good job as far as the discussion is concerned, except a few of you who have been just demeaning the comments from or the chats from your colleagues. When a colleague asks a question, please don't just shut your colleague. Allow that information to reach us so that you can be able to respond appropriately. Let's respect each other in this discussion. Otherwise, I want to salute you. Success as you are revising. But like I've seen one chat here, a gentleman asking, where do we get the pH? Maybe you are doing an experiment, you're using a universal indicator solution, and you have seen a color change. Where do we get the pH? But we are always given the pH charts, and the pH charts have colors, and the pH are written there. So that's where we read the pH flow. Otherwise, thank you so much, Mr. Mbaluka, for the good work you have done. So all of us, please, let's appreciate Mr. Mbaluka.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Momanyi. Somebody is asking for the note. We are going to finish up the lesson. Then we'll be able to give you the note after the second session. Thank you very much. And tell your friends to simply attend the lesson. We are only,
yes, Mr. Mbaluka,
the highest
Mr.
we have got
Mbaluka.
today was 169, Mr. Naktari. 169,
yes,
I think
Mr.
that's there.
Mbaluka.
So the lesson is over. You can magnetically leave the room and
Yes.
wait for the next lesson. Enjoy your time.
Thank you for the lesson.
Okay.
Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you.
Mwalimu, kindly send the slides to us.
After we are through with everything, I'll be able to send so that we have to finish this organic, then we give it. So that, because I know when we give you now, some of things you'll think you know everything and you'll not attend the other one. I'll give the slides after we are through. I'll send them to all the WhatsApp, then we'll be able to disseminate. Sawa sawa?
Thank
you.
Thank you. Mutiel.
Mr. Obiro, you can hand the meeting.
Thank you, very dangerous.
Thank you, Kakamoniasi.
Palavana.
That's magnetic.
You can get it?
Sodium.
What up, my people?
The lesson sublime.
Material.
Wow.
The lesson sublime.